in Pensacola since 1955.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes are non-transferable, non-redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other contest prize. Prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning and must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM. This is Sports Call with Davis and Justin. I'm Justin Patrick. Davis Allen not here today. He's actually out running around the McGuire's 5K, having a good time, taking some time off, as well deserved. He does everything for this station. Later in the show, we're going to have Jason Fitz joins, Chad Brillante going to join. Probably going to have a call in from Davis out from the McGuire's 5K. But with me today, we have Sean and Zach. Guys, how y'all doing?
Pretty good, you know. I wanted to go out there and do that 5K, but I decided not to.
Howdy. I'm doing great. Let's go.
Yeah, see, I was thinking about going to the McGuire's 5K, but David said, if you don't go, then I'll have to go. Or if something weird like that.
We know you don't like to run, though.
I like to party. It's fun. It's a fun time, though. But anyway, so I'll take the honors of saying it. Davis, we can't have the show go off without saying it. But we made it. It's Saturday. It's a beautiful Saturday, actually. Weather's great. Probably going to hit some golf balls later because why not? It's springtime now. Weather's looking good. Sean, you want to join me?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go. We're going to go take some drives, Go have a great time.
All right, so anyways, getting into the NBA talk real quick. Houston Rockets on a 2-game losing streak right now. They lost to the Clippers last night. Thursday. Getting blown out 120-105, and they lost to the Knicks the game before, 125-123. Came back against the Celtics, 111, 110. But right now, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, small ball. They love playing small ball. That's how they expected to win. Shoot the ball from three a lot. But against the Clippers, went 7 for 42 from the perimeter.
They went on I think they missed 20 straight threes.
It was 20 straight.
But, that's just what the Rockets do. They live and die by the three. That's what everybody was saying that the Warriors did when they were doing their title runs. But really, the Rockets, if you're not hitting your threes, you're not going to win the game.
They'll shoot themselves out of the game.
Exactly.
So quickly.
But with the Rockets, everybody was saying, which it should be said, this is James Harden's team. But when you look at it, this roster is built more and, better around Russell Westbrook, making it where, Westbrook is one of those drive and kick or drive and finish players, and having 4 guys that just sit on the perimeter the entire time, Westbrook can just do that. And since the start of 2020, he's averaging the second most points per game in the league.
And I feel like we've always wanted that whenever he was on the Thunder, though. We always wanted a team that he could just drive in there, reckless, kick it out. And with Steven Adams, other players who couldn't shoot, the Thunder just couldn't offer that for him. I feel like this just plays so well in his favor. The only problem is, as we saw earlier this week, the Clippers can take that away from him. If the Clippers make it to where Harden is the main ball handler and makes Westbrook play off ball, it limits a whole portion of their offense.
Now, a lot of people say like Harden's the main guy. He's the main guy. He's the main shooter and big plays. They always look at Harden, but the thing is with Harden can't play in high leverage games. He can't play in crunch time. He always misses the big shots, and that's why when you look at Harden as your main shooter, you're never going to win these games because he simply cannot make these big shots in crunch time.
Yeah, for me, I just can't be confident if it comes down to one or two possessions and Harden is driving the hole, taking a pick and roll, trying to create. I just can't trust that to put my whole team behind it. Especially, I remember one possession specifically, Harden was on the right wing, and he went to go drive, and the Clippers seem to almost be playing a zone around him. They don't even have to guard the short corner because there was almost a non-shooter in that corner. I believe it was Bruno Caboclo was in the corner, and then they had Westbrook at the top, and Kawhi was just playing like center field, barely guarding him, also guarding the corner. And it was almost kind of like how people would guard Giannis. It was more of just, let's stop him from driving, stop him from creating, and the rest we'll figure out if it works. If not, we'll take a Westbrook 3.
Yeah. So I was watching some of that Clippers Rockets game, and what they were doing was they were making, like Zach said, they're making Harden the main ball handler, which basically eliminates Westbrook. With Westbrook, he has to, if he doesn't have the ball in his hand, he needs to be a cutter. And with the Clippers, they know how to cut that off, having 3-4 great defensive players in Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Patrick Beverley, and Marcus Morris. So they have 3 big body guys that can just play wherever. You put Ivica Zubac, who's their starting center. You put him on PJ Tucker. You let him play a little bit off, and then you have Patrick Beverley guarding Westbrook. You had PG guarding, I think it was Eric Gordon, and then who was that on? I think they had Lou Williams in the game at the time, but he was on James Harden. So they had PG stepping over just a little bit to corral James Harden into the drive. And then you had Kawhi basically just leaving his man in Danuel House, who was in the opposite corner. He basically just left him and went and almost double-teamed Harden. And then you had Patrick Beverley playing back, and he's basically guarding both Westbrook and Danuel House. But with them being a great defensive team, they know when to recover from a defensive misstep, or they can just get back into their coverage really easily. And with the Rockets, there's not much not ball movement, but there's not player movement. You got 2 people go sit in the corners, then you have either Westbrook or Harden just dribbling the ball, pounding it until the air comes out of it. And then you have one other shooter just stationed somewhere else on the court. You don't get much ball movement or player movement at the end of the day, and I think that's what's going to end up hurting them.
I think you're right with that. I think in a playoff situation, a team can almost go into like a box and one against Harden and make it to where if these players are just going to sit there, I mean, shoot, I could sag off of them and recover in time by the time a Harden pass gets over there. So I don't see why Doc Rivers isn't drawing up anything, or not Doc Rivers, Mike D'Antoni isn't drawing up anything to create off-ball movement. I know that's not like their play style, but like you have to in a situation like this when you're down against a good defensive team, you have to like go against your normal scheme or try and create something different, right?
I mean, that's just not what the Rockets are going to do. Like, James Harden doesn't move off ball. You can watch him. He will sit at half court.
Right.
And the guy guarding him basically has to go outside of the three-point line to guard him just because, he's a great shooter. He can – if you give him space – I don't like the comparison, but he's like Giannis. If you give him enough space, he's going to find a way to get inside and score or draw a foul, most likely.
At the end of the day, though, Harden's still in those high leverage games in crunch time, though. even good defender or no good defender, he still struggles to make those big shots. He hasn't made those big plays. And remember, against Golden State in Game 7, what was it, 0 for 25, 0 for 27 from the perimeter?
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
they didn't go 0 for 27. They just missed 27 straight.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You can't win games. You can't be a championship caliber team. So with the way I'm looking at it, do you guys think this small ball technique that they're trying to pull, this isn't the way for them to get their championship that they should have by now with the players that they have?
They're not going to get a championship. I mean, you just look at the teams. I think they're fifth seed right now behind the Jazz, who they basically have the same record. They've had the same record almost all season. And
they beat the Jazz a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, I think they every other game they're just winning and then losing.
They beat the Jazz, and then 2 games before they lost to the Jazz by 1, and then
that was on that crazy Bojan Bogdanovic shot.
Yeah.
But I think that depending on their first round matchup, which right now, if the season ended, it would be Utah. I think that this kind of small ball lineup could help them win against a Utah team. But when you start going up against the Clippers or Lakers, even Denver, I don't think that they can win.
Well, it's because of the size. The size
Exactly.
difference. I mean, you have AD and LeBron, and then you have Jokic on the Nuggets. I mean, they don't have the size with these small ball players. And when you put a big man against these small players, they're simply just not going to win. They're faster, don't get me wrong, but their shooting they won't win.
Well, for me, I feel like it has its strengths. Don't get me wrong. Like, you're faster, everyone can handle the ball, but that will shock a team every other game, something like that. But it's not gonna win you 4 out of 7 games. To me, like, after 2 or 3 games, a good coach is gonna figure out who to attack, how to play against it. So a championship just isn't even in the conversation to me for them. Like, yes, they're gonna get out of the first round. I feel like they could take the Jazz. I feel like they could take simple, like, younger teams. They could definitely take, like, the Grizzlies, some of these teams that are right outside the playoffs that they end up getting in. But I don't see them taking on, like, a smart coach. Like you said, the Nuggets, Clippers, Lakers, the top strong teams, they have almost no chance of winning a series against them. But I mean, it's always in the favors, right?
So, like what you said, when you get into the playoffs, that your coach and your players, they don't have to game plan for anything else but this one team.
Right.
So, say you're going up against the Jazz and you're the Rockets. So, you don't know how to play them now because their game style changes by game.
Right.
Like, they could play big, which their 2 bigs are Isaiah Hartenstein and Tyson Chandler. But they're going to play the small ball lineup, and you can learn how to, or not learn, but you can develop defensive strategies over a 7-game series because you're not having to game plan. Oh yeah, we play the Rockets tonight, then we're going to play the Clippers tomorrow. You have to go against this Rockets team almost up to 7 times, and you're not going against any other players. Like, you can game plan for, we want Westbrook shooting. If he's out there, sag off. You can play help defense off ball.
Now, you saw a lot of the triple doubles at OKC. Now with this play style that they have, do you think that Russell Westbrook, he hasn't really been able to, I guess, I can't find the word. He hasn't been able to find that triple doubles as much as he did in OKC, probably because they look at Harden as the main ball handler.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't. What was it? He doesn't finish plays as often as he did in OKC.
Yep.
With OKC, he was either getting the assist, the shot, or the turnover on almost, might even been over half possessions. And with the Rockets, even if you're splitting it, quote unquote, 50-50, you still have those plays where Eric Gordon is going to be doing the ball handling. You're still going to have the plays where, all these other players, their backups, point guards, Austin Rivers, those guys are going to be finishing the layups or finishing the plays, and that's going to make it where Westbrook isn't going to be getting as many assists, rebounds, points.
Yeah, I think you're on, like, the correct path. I think it's before on the Thunder, it was, all right, give Westbrook the ball, we'll figure something out. Like, it was just kind of like everyone run the offense around him, and with this team, especially now that they've gone all small ball, like, if Austin Rivers grabs a rebound, he's not going to pass it to Westbrook to go up the court. He's just going to go up there. If Eric Gordon grabs a rebound, he's just going to go up. If any of these players that are like smaller, the whole point of it is you get the rebound and you're immediately running. Like you it's not like the OKC situation where like, all right, Steven Adams, you just hold your box out, Westbrook will grab it and you run out. It's all right, everyone grab it, team effort, and then get that ball up.
I finally thought of the word. It's execute. That's what I was trying to think of. Execute. That was the word I was thinking of. Anyway, so do you think that the Rockets, knowing how Westbrook plays, do you think the Rockets are not really his fit because he should be the main ball handler really with his play style? Because I feel like teams win more if he's the actual main ball handler because he can pass the ball out more and he can finish plays more than Harden can.
So I was thinking about it, and back in the day when Westbrook was on OKC, back in the Westbrook and KD days, if the Thunder would have built their team the same way that this Rockets team did, and you just basically say you replace this Rockets team, you replace Harden with KD, like prime KD, whatever. I think that it would be a much better situation because KD isn't as much of a I need the ball to do whatever. Like he's more okay than Harden at standing there, or not really standing there, but taking a off the pass shot.
Right.
Whereas James Harden, if he's gonna shoot, it's basically gonna be off a dribble.
Yeah, like he will not just, even if he's wide open. Like I would love to see the percentage of him just like catching an open pass on the 3-point line and just pulling it. Like I feel like that never happens. I feel like he is not like accustomed and like in tune to just catch it and be ready to shoot. He always feels like he needs to create it. He feels more comfortable taking it off like that. Like, and with a team, if you're gonna have a Westbrook handling it, like you gotta have those players immediately ready to shoot. Like if he's gonna pass it to you and you dribble a little bit, like, all right, well then Westbrook's like creation really didn't matter to you. Like,
all right, we're going to take a quick break. You want to join the show, you can call our Texas studio line at 850-623-1330. Listen to Sports Call Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM.
First Take, Your Take with Jason Fitz.
Remember, it's not that long ago the 76ers over-exceeded expectations in the playoffs, right? So suddenly it became they are the future and the future is now. Trust the process became this thing that works. Now they've hit a wall. And it's staggering to me to hear Embiid talk about he doesn't know if he's getting the ball. And Horford to say, we've got issues in the locker room, but we'll keep that private. Guess what? You just made them public.
1 to 2 weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Sylvan success story number 4,092.
In 5th grade, we started noticing some problems, and it really changed our world. Sylvan gives parents like me hope. She's done a complete 180, and she's getting all A's and B's on her own. There's no more fighting about homework. I know that it's going to get turned in, and I know that she's going to rock it.
Start your own Sylvan success story. Call 1-800-EDUCATE or visit sylvanlearning.com.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly dilly!
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes are non-transferable, non-redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other contest prize. Prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning and must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
There's only one name in town when it comes to afternoon local sports talk, the Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante.
Some athletes don't want to be given, nobody does. No, look, when you play with your pops as he gets older, one of the most embarrassing things, my daughter's 3, I just slam it right in her face right at the play school hoop. Like right there, like I'm Zion Williamson.
The games, the players, the fans. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back into the Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM. So it's kind of like the coast-to-coast takeover of Sports Call. So Sean, Zach, we actually run a podcast as well. We call it's a Coast-to-Coast podcast. It's a big basketball podcast, and it's basically a couple college guys talking basketball, and that's what it's based around. You guys want to check it out? It's on Spotify. You can tune in. So it's kind of like the coast-to-coast takeover for Sports Call with Davis and Justin. And so Davis, he's out at the McGuire's 5K. He's living up life. He's having fun. Probably knocking a couple back, not going to lie. So we're taking over right now for him. Keeping it on NBA, though. LeBron had a big game last night versus Giannis and the Bucks. Taking the dub, 113-103. What did he drop, 37 last night, I believe?
Yeah, he had 37, 8, and 8.
Yep, and then tomorrow night at 9 Central Time, he's got Kawhi and the Clippers.
It's at 2:30 tomorrow.
Is that 2:30?
Yeah.
Oh, that's my bad. Oops. Anyways, so what do you guys look as a tougher matchup for LeBron? Definitely has to be the Clippers. One, because Western Conference as well, but also in the competition, I feel like Kawhi, he's just a tougher player in these high leverage games. Think about it. Opening day comes out, he's trolling LeBron with tweets and stuff like that. Then Christmas Day, also, who was the best player on Christmas Day? It had to be Kawhi.
So I think that the Clippers are a tougher matchup for the Lakers because of the fact that they have Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Marcus Morris, and Patrick Beverley. All 4 of those guys can defend LeBron or give him fits. Now, you're never going to be able to stop LeBron, but those are 4 of the best players because the first 3, Marcus Morris, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard, are all big wings. Long wingspan, big wings that they match up well with LeBron. And then you have Patrick Beverley, who just is a menace.
The size doesn't matter to him.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He is a dog on defense. And I think those 4 players being able to defend LeBron make them the more terrifying matchup to the Lakers. So,
last night, did you look at it as a must-win for LeBron, though, because he did lose to Giannis and the Bucks early in the season? The Bucks, of course, they had the best record, and then they're number 1 in the Eastern Conference. And last night, we were pretty much looking at a potential what could be finals matchup for the NBA championship, because the Bucks probably going to be in the Eastern Conference championship at least, in my opinion, towards the end of the season. And LeBron, tomorrow night, we could be looking at as a Western Conference potential matchup with the Clippers and the Lakers. And tomorrow's game, it's the makeup game from Kobe's death, right? The day after.
I think that one's at the end of the season. I think that's in April.
April? Okay.
Yeah.
So we're seeing these teams already go up against each other, though, and it's basically a home game for both teams, of course. It's the Clippers' home. It's the Clippers.
Well, anytime that it's a home game for the Clippers, it's a Lakers home game.
Yeah.
Because this is the Lakers stadium.
Yeah.
And all the fans are
Kobe's house.
Lakers fans.
Kobe built this house. Let's be real.
Yeah, I guess.
He built the house.
You know who built the house?
Who built the house?
Magic Johnson.
Okay.
So I think that with the whole Bucks, Lakers, and Clippers thing, I think that the Bucks are better than the Clippers. The Clippers are better than the Lakers, but the Lakers are better than the Bucks. It's like a triangle. I think that with
There's like a little
each
circle thing you got
yeah.
going on there.
So I think that the Bucks just match up better with the Clippers. Why? I don't understand it, but with the games that they've played against each other, all three of these teams have played against each other this season, I've seen that the matchups favor. It's a weird thing to look at, but it could be because when the Bucks played the Clippers, I think Kawhi didn't play, or was it Paul George?
Paul George.
Paul George didn't play because of the shoulder injury that he had at the beginning of the season. But just from what I've watched and looking at the box scores, it's a lot easier for certain players to go off against these teams. But out of the three, I think that, or out of the two between the Bucks and the Clippers, I think that the Lakers will have a tougher time with the Clippers just because of the defense that they're able to play.
And also, I mean, Kawhi, he's definitely, as of right now, in high leverage games, where it's big games, I think Kawhi just plays a lot better than Giannis. Giannis, he's still, I think, fairly young right now. And, Mr. Bucks fan over here, he's probably got a thing or two to say about Giannis not being, the greatest player in these high leverage games, but he'll probably get there. And, he's still in the MVP race. But these games is what really kind of seals down on what makes him the MVP or not.
Okay, for me, it gets split up between the one-on-one matchup against LeBron, and it gets split up to Lakers versus the two other teams. That's like the separation for me. Like, I know LeBron is always like, oh, it's not just me, it's the team. I think Kawhi guards LeBron the best of any player I've ever seen. I think he can. He takes that turnaround that LeBron loves to take. He defends it so well. He knows when he wants to jump on it. He's played LeBron since he was like a child in the NBA, pretty much, is what it feels like to me. And Giannis, for me, and I love him. Anyone who knows me knows that I will live and die by this man. Giannis gets some of like the worst calls, and it's not even the refs. Giannis will just like foul in the worst time against LeBron, and I don't know what it is. LeBron will be posting up last night and just take a turnaround that he knows is coming, and Giannis will like jump late and not get the block, or he'll jump, or he'll bite on like a half spin and be completely out of the way. Like Giannis wants to show and prove that he's there too much on LeBron to me. Now that's just like the one-on-one. Obviously Kawhi wins it. As a team, the Clippers, they just have so many people they can throw at him. And I think Marcus Morris is one of the most underrated people to guard LeBron. Being not a smaller name guy, but just like someone, not Kawhi, not Paul George. Obviously those guys can like go back and forth. But Marcus Morris will just give everything just to guard LeBron. Like it doesn't matter if he's getting 3 points the whole game and hits 1 3. That man is going to go nuts, and he's going to be hyped up because he is guarding LeBron and giving it everything. For me, it almost feels like how like the Warriors were against him with Iggy. Like Iggy wins Finals MVP just because he guards LeBron well. I can see Marcus Morris doing something like this, like just for the effort and like the amount of like strength he puts into LeBron to match the size.
What we've seen in the past, though, when LeBron has these teams that just have weapons on weapons.
Yeah.
Well, the Warriors in the finals, he's had trouble with them, but he's been able to beat them when he has other weapons around. Right now, he's got Anthony Davis, he had Kyrie, and he had Kevin Love back in Cleveland, back when he won the championship in 2016, right? And so, but last night you had 78 put up by Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Kyle Kuzma combined. Those are pretty much your main guys on this team. And Kyle Kuzma, he's coming off the bench. And, JaVale McGee, though, he only put up 5 last night. I think if he wants to beat the Clippers tomorrow night, JaVale McGee's probably going to put in more.
I think he has to. I have to see more from Anthony Davis. I was talking to Sean about this before, and Anthony Davis isn't showing me anything to be like, okay, yeah, he is a locked in like second option. Like I just don't see him as like, I don't see him taking over the game if LeBron isn't hot. That's the only thing for me. Like I see he took advantage of matches up against the Bucks. Very, very smart. He took those when he should have. But against the Clippers, he's not going to have those like size mismatches. Like it's not going to be Eric Bledsoe guarding Anthony Davis. It's going to be Patrick Beverly. It's going to be all these like smaller guards that can defend bigger guys like that. Like Anthony Davis has to take over in that game for me.
Now, all right. So, what do you guys think about the chemistry between LeBron and Anthony Davis? Do you think it's there, or is it still in the process of in the works?
Well, this is their first season together.
Yeah, of course.
At times they've looked completely in sync, where LeBron could throw it up wherever, and Anthony Davis would know that's his. He's going to get it. But I think there's been a couple times this season where they've gone through rough patches, and Anthony Davis and LeBron aren't on the same page.
Right.
But I think once the playoffs come and the end of the season it's getting to the end of the season, I think that you're going to see that they're much more in tune than you have at other points in the season, just because LeBron wants Anthony Davis to know that Anthony Davis is the first option on this team.
And he'll force that topic.
Yeah, he will force it. It's more of he wants the media and fans to know that he wants Anthony Davis there, because Anthony Davis is a free agent after the season.
Right.
He could leave.
Do you think he does leave?
I doubt it.
Not a chance.
Depending on how far they get, say they lose in the first. I mean, they probably won't lose in the first round, being the number 1 seed. If they lose in the second round, I could see him leaving. Where would he go? I have no idea. But could he leave?
Where would he go? I mean, that's the biggest question.
I know Miami has a lot of
What are
open
you
cap
thinking?
space.
You thinking Bucks?
Celtics. He already talked about going there before. Imagine him
Do
on
they have
this
the cap
team.
space?
The Celtics have always been able to make cap
They can
space.
make it work.
Because all you have to do. Oh, Gordon Hayward has a player option after this season. Now they could convince him to opt out.
Opt out, sign him for cheaper.
Yeah, sign him for
Anthony
cheaper
Davis.
and longer. Give him more money, but on a longer term contract. That gives you a lot of cap space, because he did sign that max contract back in 2016.
I don't see him trying to go anywhere. Like, I feel like being like the family man that we like seen him kind of get social with the media with.
Talking about
like,
Gordon Hayward right
yeah,
now?
Yeah, Gordon Hayward. Like
Okay.
he's not trying to move to somewhere else like right now. Like he didn't even want to move originally. Like he's trying to just like lock down.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break. Chad Berlingante is supposed to join us next segment, and we're gonna talk some football. There, talk about Tom Brady, Drew Brees, who you gonna like about him, and then Taysom Hill. Saints put a price on him. You listen to Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola at 1330 AM at 99.1 FM.
We are back, and we are looking at a pretty lopsided matchup, Jim.
That's right, Ron. I mean, in one corner, we've got a 175-pound guy, and in the other, a 6,000-ton heavyweight train?
Jim, this guy has no idea what he's getting himself into.
It's no contest. Every day, people tempt fate and die trespassing on railroad tracks. See tracks? Think train.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golick and Wingo. Oh, yeah. To the Dan Levitard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
Look, chicken restaurants are nothing new. But if you're saying been there, done that, it tastes like chicken. Well, if your friends offer you a brand new convertible or a broken down station wagon with 3 wheels, do you say, hey, they're both cars? Well, the people have spoken. Mr. Pollo on 9th Avenue was voted top 100 places to eat in the country by Yelp at number 61. Making chicken great again, America. It's that good. Try it and you'll be hooked for life. The freshest ingredients and the perfect catering for any big party. Mr. Pollo. It means chicken.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back into Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola at 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Davis is out the 5K for McGuire's 5K, but with me now joining the show, guy you can catch on the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Chad Brillante, how you doing today, man?
Hey, what's happening, Justin? Doing okay. It's a nice day outside. A lot of things happening. I know I'm getting old when I actually had to ask if the McGuire's run. That was actually the first thing we did when we got in here, our anniversaries this week, and my wife and I, Brittany, had a chance to do that race. But, yeah, someone had to remind me yesterday, so I guess I'm more into doing the park things and having some fun with the family. So enjoyable, but beautiful day outside. I hope everybody's enjoying it, and that's not taking too many Irish weight down. So I hope they can be good for tomorrow.
Yeah, man, I'm probably going to go out and enjoy my day, go hit some golf balls or something like that. I was really surprised when I heard the McGuire's 5K was this weekend. Davis told me, I was like, wow, this time's really sneaking up on us now. I'm like, I'm still 18. I'm like, why is this happening so fast? It's getting to me now, though. But I know you're out there, you're enjoying your day if you're with your daughter, spending some family, daddy-daughter time, right?
Yeah, no, we're having some fun. We're actually just got done doing a whole entire – we do zoos at the house, but I know that's not why a lot of people are turning into the sports to talk about my zoo animals, but it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it, and we're about to go to a park here in a little while, so it should be some fun. I'm going to watch some college basketball games today, a lot of good bubble games, and looking forward to the XFL as well.
Yeah, look forward to the XFL, but sticking with, I want to talk to some NFL actually right now. Saints put a price on Taysom Hill yesterday of a first-round draft pick, pretty much is how you're going to get Taysom Hill. Now, what do you think about this?
You know, I think it's a smart move by the Saints because why not? I mean, you're putting the leverage out there. You've got the upper hand. You're never going to get a guy with a higher ceiling of value. Now, he's not a quarterback. If somebody's trying to get him for a first-round tender, and pretty much what that means for the people that don't know is that in order to open him up for free agency, for him to have an opportunity to go to another team, he would have to, at that point, be traded for a first-round pick to the Saints. If the Saints could get a first-round pick for Taysom Hill, I think they have to take it. Now, Taysom Hill has value, but there's only so many plays you can utilize him, where if you get a full-time first-rounder, those guys could be a game changer. If you put another full-time wide receiver across from Michael Thomas, which they need desperately, and Jared Cook started to come on at the end of the year, that could be a huge threat in the final years with Drew Brees coming back. So I think at this point, you got to look and say, if they get it, you got to take it. But I personally would not go after a first-round pick if I was another team for Taysom Hill, knowing that he can only be utilized in about 20 plays a game.
Now, see, the utility guy in football, it's probably been forgotten about a lot because you don't really see it as much. You really see a lot more full-time players than you do utility guys. But Taysom Hill, he's kind of brought it back to life. You see him, he can be on special teams, he can be on offense, and he works well in the slot, and he works well on punt coverage as well. He's got a punt block early this season. And you don't really see that out of a lot of guys anymore as a utility player in football. You see special team players, defense, and offense, but Taysom Hill, he's kind of brought it back. Now, do you think you'll start to see other teams try and find more Taysom Hills, or you're just thinking Taysom Hill, he's just a one-time type of guy?
No, I think they will, but they're not easy to find. And also, let's face it, there's a move with a lot of younger coaches. You look at Matt Rule, a guy that never coached in the NFL, getting paid about $8 million to $9 million a year. You saw Zach Taylor move in. He was a quarterbacks coach, and he got the job. Guys like Skarbinski getting brought in, and what we see right now with, a young guy like Sean McVay and all around the NFL, Kyle Shanahan's, it seems like that's the movement. And I think a lot of the younger coaches are willing to risk it. They're willing to shake it up a little and be more innovative, where a lot of coaches in their 60s and 70s, they've been there, done that. They played a physical style of football. They played more about the run and play hard-nosed defense, time of possession, and that still works today. Look, Bill Belichick's won more Super Bowls, and he might be getting ready for the Chargers, but he's still in his late 60s. So if you look at the most dominant coaches, it's still two guys that, saw AARP about 20 years ago, and Nick Saban and Bill Belichick in their respective sports. The difference is a lot of these younger coaches, I think, would be the kind of guys that would be able to take Taysom Hill, those type of players, and use them. However, I just think, he's a fan favorite in New Orleans. We know that. They love him. But for a first-round pick, we're talking about a guy that can change the entire dynamics of your team. So for that, I would do it. And that's what I'm saying is I think Taysom Hill is great value. But a first-round pick has extreme value. It can change your whole entire franchise, and he's not a quarterback. So whether he's listed as a quarterback at times or not, he only threw 52% completion percentage in college at BYU, and he's not going to be the kind of guy that you can fit into a system and expect him to win for teams if you're a Chicago or a team like a Denver that might need a quarterback for the future. It's not a move for a quarterback. It's a move for about 15 to 20% of your offense, which is not, to me, worth a first-round pick. But good for the Saints for trying. I mean, hey, I would try as well. You sell high, and his ceiling is never going to be higher than it is now.
I mean, yeah, it's good for the Saints because, one, if it does work, then good for them because they got a first-round draft pick. And if it doesn't work, you still have Taysom Hill there, who worked really well for you this season, doing a lot of things with him on special teams and offense, working the slot, and even on run plays as well. He does a lot. You can do it in the Wildcat as well. So which way it goes to the Saints, it's still going to profit for them most likely. And so you really can't complain if you're New Orleans. But I want to stick with a little bit New Orleans. You mentioned Bill Belichick, but I want to talk about the 40-plus club of Tom Brady and Drew Brees, both getting really old. Drew Brees coming back, and Tom Brady, we all know the drama of where is he going to go. But right now, who would you rather have as your quarterback at this age, Tom Brady or Drew Brees? Because Tom, we've seen it all. You're a Patriots fan. I'm a Patriots fan. We all know the rings, the stats, the clutch games that he's had. Then you have Drew Brees, the stats and numbers that he's put up, record-breaking in passing yards, passing touchdowns. Who would you rather have right now in the 40-plus club, Tom Brady or Drew Brees?
That's an extremely tough question. Just because right now, I mean, based on what we saw towards the end of the season, and the physicality at that age takes a toll. I mean, I'd go with Drew Brees, but currently, but at the same time, if a team is built around winning and you have a quarterback into the big moment, and Drew Brees has done what he can do. If you look back at the way they've lost, I mean, Drew Brees gets them back to overtime, and the defense, who is much improved this year, allows them to march right down the field. Kirk Cousins finds Rudolph, whether the offensive PI, I'm not getting back into that. And then, he scores a touchdown and they lose, and Brees is on the sidelines with his arms crossed in a comeback. Or, Stephon Diggs, he did everything he could to find Snead on the sidelines on a fourth down, keep that game alive. Lutz kicks the field goal. They're moving on. And then all they have to do is keep them in bounds and they lose. So if you look at Drew Brees, it's not the reason. He's not the reason they lost. He didn't, and the other one, obvious, the worst PI call in the history of sports that wasn't called, that play would have set them up to go to the Super Bowl. So 3 straight years, Drew Brees has done enough to keep them in it. And by the craziness of some voodoo, that magic that they didn't want, casting an opposite spell on their city or whatever has happened, it has been crazy from a standpoint of what's happened in New Orleans. So it's easy to look back and say Drew has failed in the big moment 3 times. That's not true at all. He's had the worst luck you can possibly have, and he's the nicest guy that, even if you're not a Saints fan, unless you're a Falcon or a Panther, you sort of want to root for. On the other side, though, I look at Tom Brady, and yes, it's really hard, Justin. And, we got to do the NFL tailgate shows down at World of Beer each week and talk about this with JP. And I know that watching them, it was the receiving core wasn't bad. It was the worst in the history of the NFL to me. And I know I'm maybe being a little bit salty on this, but I'm saying when you look at the Patriots, it was so bad. They were using free agents that got cut from other teams. They lost in a matter of about a 12-month span the number one tight end that ever played in Rob Gronkowski. You had a guy in Josh Gordon that, regardless of his hazy situation, he was a Pro Bowler when he was there. Antonio Brown, that even though he's his own worst enemy, and this, I don't know if anybody can help him at this point, but he was looked at as a top 3 receiver in the NFL, and he still was in his prime. You had all 3 of those guys out there, plus 2 guys on the offensive line that got hurt, a running game that Sony Michel got banged up early in the season, and they had, it was Danny Amendola gets traded. Julian Edelman's playing at about 70% and missed some games. And N'Keal Harry can't read a playbook. Their first round, and Sanu doesn't work out. So that whole team, what was at one point a for sure thing, it became something where Tom Brady looked frustrated even being on the field. And I've never seen that. I mean, they look like they're going through the motions. When they're losing games with the other team only scoring 13, 14 points, that's not the Patriot way. And I don't know at this point if you can say, it's easy to look and say Brady's not the same player. But if you revert back to the beginning of the season, folks, go back and look at the first 3 games when Gordon and Brown were both there. They outscored their opponents 106-3.
Yep.
They were beating teams 33-0. Pittsburgh. They beat the New York Jets in a game 36-6. And then they beat the Miami Dolphins. And yes, they didn't name 3 juggernauts, but beat them 43-0. And that's the same team that beat them at the end of the season. So there's no reason any team that you beat 43-0 should come back and beat you. And it was because it was a completely different team. They were just going through the motions. The players had almost felt like this was a lost cause. And for that, I'm not ready to say if that other Brady at the beginning of the season that just looked like he was having an MVP type year coming off a Super Bowl championship. I thought that he was going out for one last hurrah, and then he sort of started getting the routine. So I'm not ready to say that if some team picks him up or if New England, lo and behold, got an incredible player in the draft or a tight end, that he couldn't be that guy again. I'm not ready to say his career is over because we saw it just less than 12 months ago. And for that, though, I have to go with Breeze from what we've seen because he did put up MVP-type numbers and set more records, but overall, I'm not ready to give it up for these people saying Tom Brady's old and he's not going to help a team. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that because you listed 3 teams that were not great juggernauts, but they did what they were supposed to do against those teams. That was put up high numbers and not let them score late, and that's exactly what they did. But then when you look at the next part of the end of the season after those 8 games where they have gone 8-0, it just fell apart. I think it was they went 500 for the rest of the year, going 4-4, and then they lost to the Titans in the playoffs. And Tom Brady, he's shown when you give him weapons, he can still play. And that's why you can see the Patriots, we've seen this in the past, they don't like to financially commit. And that's why we've always seen one of our great players go, like Chandler Jones or Jamie Collins. We see those guys leave a lot, and they're just like, why? It's because the Patriots, they don't want to pay that check to them. They want to let them go and just try and find someone else that can fit in that system. And I don't know why we've always done that, but the thing is, if they financially commit, Brady will play there. He wants to be in New England, in my opinion. But if they don't, you're going to see him go to somewhere like the Tennessee Titans, where they have a great O-line, they have a great run game, and they have rookie wide receivers who can make plays. But the thing is, if the Patriots just don't commit and finally get him weapons, I don't see Brady being in New England anymore.
I think he will, and I think that. Here's the thing is when people say they didn't try, they did. They just made some moves that obviously didn't work out or weren't the same kind of guys. Look, we all need to know this isn't being stereotypical or anything, but you know what a Patriot receiver looks like. He looks like me and you, Justin. Looks like the kind of guy that, you would see walking by and you wouldn't glance over twice and say he's a football player. I mean, think about it. Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, Chris Hogan, Danny Amendola. And what those guys were, the Cole Beasleys of the NFL, the Hunter Renfros, these aren't 6'3", 220 guys that go up and make plays and run a 4-3. What they are is it's perfect for the system. Now, people always say Brady's been a system quarterback. Well, I always joke, like when they talk about Joe Burrow being in Joe Brady's system. You have to have an elite player to run a certain system. Like in the NBA, if you have Steph Curry, they say, well, it's an up-tempo system. They're just able to shoot. Well, yeah, but if you had a guy that doesn't shoot threes well, then it's a waste of your time. That's why Houston and Golden State and these fast-paced teams build themselves with 6'6" guys playing center because they want everybody to shoot and be able to do that. I think the same thing when you look at New England. They're a team that spreads the football, and they have routes where it's a 3-step pattern, and you turn, and the ball is going to be there. Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City is more create a play and throw downfield. If you look at some Russell Wilson, same way. But if you look at New England, it was designed for Tom Brady to be able to go 1, 2, 3 drop, because we know he's not one of these elusive guys out of the pocket. It actually gets really ugly when he tries to do that. And how many times this year did he have to throw the ball at the feet of the running back because nobody was open? He looked downfield, and Jacoby Myers and Matt LaCassie, and it makes me sick saying these names, trying to get open on a 3-step drop, and instead those guys end up not being able to run the routes, and the ball would be incomplete or they'd be off target. Brady is as good as it's ever been. He's the greatest all time, but he's also the greatest by far of all time at being able to look and throw a ball to a spot that the receiver is supposed to be there, whether it's a slant, whether it's an out route, a hook. And right now, he couldn't do that because those guys didn't know how to run patterns. N'Keal Harry said he had a hard time reading the playbook. And I don't care how you could put the best players in NFL history out there. If they don't know how to read the playbook, then it's going to look stupid. And Tom was frustrated. You could tell last year. So I don't know. I think if he comes back, there's going to have to be a lot of change. But I can see them drafting Justin Herbert, having him learn for a year, and finding a way to make him the next quarterback. So I would hope he comes back. Tennessee, I think, is going to stick with Tannehill. I think they're going to go with Tannehill, and he'll be the guy. And but if he has to go somewhere, yeah, I don't think Tennessee's a bad fit. But I think he's going back to New England.
All right, well, Chad, we got to get you a break, and I really appreciate the call-in, man. Always welcome to join the show, as always. You can always catch Chad on Sports Drive, 5 to 7, weekdays, every day on ESPN Pensacola and on Blab Television as well. I really appreciate it, Chad.
Hey, Justin, you're doing a great job. I appreciate it, and have fun. You're doing an awesome job hosting, and we're happy and proud to have you as part of the team.
I really appreciate that, Chad. You have a good day with your daughter.
All right, you too, bud. See you.
That's Chad Brilliante. You catch him on the Sports Drive. Does everything for this station on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 991 FM. You're listening to Sports Call with Davis and Justin.
What if your brother
or your husband?
What if your son came back from the service with a spinal cord injury?
When they volunteer to serve, we expect our country to be there for them if they are injured.
For more than 60 years, Paralyzed Veterans of America has been fighting to ensure that we receive all of the benefits that we've earned.
Thank you, Paralyzed Veterans, for helping my husband.
My son.
For helping my brother.
You too can help. Visit pva.org, a public service of Paralyzed Veterans of America.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly dilly!
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi, I'm Matt Kenseth. You don't have to be a race car driver to know that life can be full of drama. Some of it you can't control, like mechanical issues, high winds, and rain delays. But there's some drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
You just need to take that first step and find free classes near you, and leave the drama for the racetrack.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
Hey, this is JP with Talk Football with Coach K in the Sports Drive. This spring is all about XFL football. Well, the XFL season is ramped up and brought with it a lot of excitement. We look forward to bringing you the most comprehensive coverage you can find on the Gulf Coast. From interviews featuring players, coaches, and administrators, predictions of the weekend ahead, and the breakdown of the past week's games, we have it here. It's the XFL show right after Talk Football with Coach K, every Monday and Friday at 12:30 on ESPN Pensacola and streaming live on YouTube.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
The greatest name in sports radio is ESPN. Wherever you have Alexa, you can hear ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Just say,
Alexa, enable ESPN Pensacola 1330 skill.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
Credit a great performance by Garoppolo. And I love the way he throws the football. He's got all the things going for him.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1.
the teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back into Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM at 991 FM. Davis not with us. He's at the McGuire's 5K, but we still have to stay with this tradition, which is love it or hate it. When you hear this music, you know it's time for some love it or hate it. So we're going to get right into it right now with some topics. Drew Brees retires after the season, championship or not?
Hate it.
I love it. He's getting near the end of his career. It's going to happen.
I love it just because you saw the question of whether or not he was going to be able to come back this season. And I think next year, whether he has a championship or not, he has kids. He wants to be with those kids. You know, he really just wants to be with his family. He's not going to leave New Orleans, so I believe that. Smaller conference teams in the March Madness have a chance.
I love it. I think some of the smaller conference teams actually have the best chance, just because it's so open this season.
I hate it. You're gonna see one of those big teams win.
I hate it. No. I hate what you said. I love what he said. It's because here's why. We've seen this in the past. These teams, man, they're so unexpected. They don't know them that well because they don't see these type of teams play that much. That's what I love about March Madness periods in college basketball is that you see these smaller teams do really good. That's why Gonzaga, they're my favorite to win the national championship this year because they're a smaller team. They're not as well known, and they're used to being here. They're here every year. They're a top 3 seed. This will be the best March Madness in years since there's no dominant team, really. You know, Kansas is looked at as that dominant team in the past, but I don't really see that you can name a dominant team this year.
I love it because I think that there's going to be a lot more close games because there's no team that has a stacked roster like there have in past years.
Okay.
I feel like I gotta love it. I mean, I just said that I think smaller conference teams have a chance, so of course it's probably gonna be one of the best.
Yeah, but you don't really have that team that's like all undefeated or like one couple losses. With smaller teams you do, but that's expected because they'll lose to like a top 5 team in Kansas or Duke. But this year, we're gonna see a lot of competition. Everyone's bracket is gonna be busted, no doubt, because just look at all the variety you have. There's 8 Big Ten teams in the top 25 right now.
Honestly,
Big Ten's out here playing basketball, which is really rare.
Exactly.
It's usually the ACC that you see this with. And you see maybe 4 or 5 ACC teams in the top 25. The SEC with 2 with Auburn and Kentucky. This year, it's really rare that you don't know who's going to win. A lot of things are going to happen. Moving on to some MLB. The Astros are the most hated team in MLB history. Not just this year, because it's a given that it's this year, but in history.
I hate it. Everyone hates the Yankees. I mean, if you're not a Yankees fan, you hate them. Honestly, I hate what they did. I don't think it's right, but they can't be the most hated ever. Everyone hates the Red Sox. Everyone hates the Yankees. Everyone hates these like big teams. Everyone hates the Dodgers. Like it's just kind of like, are they at that level? Not for me.
So, I hate it, but it's because I think that the Astros team, like the team that did it, I think they're the most hated, but I don't think the Astros organization as a whole, like going back over all the years, like you said, like the Yankees are the most hated team. I don't think the Astros can surpass them with just this.
All right. The XFL will be a competing fan base to the NFL. I'm going to tell you right now, I hate this. I hate it already because it's impossible. No one's ever touching the NFL.
I hate it. I think they have a chance. I think that everyone's saying that the fan bases are going down, but there's no way that is the league. There's people from other countries that watch the NFL.
But I love
are people gonna watch?
I love
XFL?
the rules that they have.
Yeah.
You're starting to see other teams other leagues, MLB. They're starting to copy off a little bit with the mic'd up thing.
Yeah.
I love that, and I really hope we can see that in the regular season in the future because that is honestly it's awesome watching that because you get to see a little bit more in the intake of the game, which you don't see in any other type of sport. Is what these players are doing, talking about on the field. You don't ever see this. You really just see players making plays, and you don't hear what they're saying.
But all the NFL has to do is just take some of the most successful parts of the XFL, like the mic'd up, smaller rule changes, and then why watch the XFL when you can watch the NFL? You know what I mean? It just doesn't compete for me. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I hate it. I mean, you're not gonna all these teams that are already established, or the leagues that are already established, NBA, NFL, MLB, they're not going to be touched by these newer leagues coming in. It's just there's not going to be any competition.
I think it's the history.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. It's been love or to hate it on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and FM. We got a whole another hour coming up. Tune in. We're going to be talking Jason Fitz is going to be joining. Davis is going to be calling in. Talking a little bit of MLB, a little bit of college basketball because we got conference championships coming up. There's a sports call with Davis and Just on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golick and Wingo.
Oh, yeah.
To the Dan Levitard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day. Thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
Once upon a time, there was a nice house that lived with a family. The house loved the family and took care of them. One day, it started to rain and rain. The house wanted to protect the family, but the water got inside and ruined everybody's everythings. The house was so sad, but the family didn't think it could happen. They told the house that they would take better care of her, always.
Protect what matters. Learn more about your flood risk at floodsmart.gov/care.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golick and Wingo.
Oh, yeah.
To the Dan Levitard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day. Thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News. ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golick and Wingo.
Oh, yeah.
To the Dan Levitard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day. Thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, The best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
Hip, hip. Hip, hip.
This song, man, I always just love this song. It just puts in a good vibe. Island in the Sun by Weezer. I actually saw them at DeLuna Fest when I was like in 4th grade, man. But they're actually a really good band. I like listening to them play. But that song is just a good mood, and that's become our hour number 2 song that we have for Sports Call with Davis and Justin. Davis not in today. He's going to join later in the show at the 12:45 segment and talk a little bit about sports. Probably going to talk some XFL, honestly, because he just loves these XFL and what's been going on. But he's out there having fun at the McGuire's 5K. But right now it's spring training for MLB. We're seeing a lot of players being mic'd up, and usually you never see ESPN or SportsCenter. You never see on their social media pages. You never see the MLB get posted, But then when they put these mics on these players, I've seen one every day these past couple of days, and people are loving it, and they're kind of taking the XFL approach of going more in depth with the game, what it's like to actually be inside the game, and I love it because you're seeing these stars like Freddie Freeman, Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, Joe Madden, all with mics on them, and everybody's loving it because no one's really that caring that much about the actual content, what is spring training baseball, because you don't see the big stars playing 24/7. You're seeing a lot of minor league players play, a lot of guys who be cut in a month or two, But I really loved the way they've had these mics, have these players mic'd up during spring training.
Right, and I mean we talked about it before. They took it a lot from XFL, and I love it. It gives you like a different aspect rather than just to me it takes away kind of like the boring parts of the game, parts of like the batter just in the batter box kind of warming up, stuff like that. Like it takes away that like staleness and kind of like empty air time to me that the MLB kind of offers, and it allows you to hear what they're thinking, hear kind of like get more personable with these players, and that I think that just takes it to the next level. It takes it from like, oh, I'm watching my favorite player to like, oh, I know what my player's thinking when he's about to go up to bat, stuff like that.
And so one guy who's loved around here is Freddie Freeman, because there's a lot of Atlanta Braves fans around here, and so Freddie Freeman, he's one of the favorite guys because he's just been there for so long. He's been their veteran first baseman, and they had him mic'd up. I believe it was yesterday. They had him mic'd up, or 2 days ago, and this was him on first base.
Oh, here we go. Oh, watch this. There's wind, boys. There's wind. There's wind. There's wind. He's right. He's gonna score. Right. There's wind. Come on.
Now, Freddie Freeman, he is in the fleetest of feet. He's not very fast at all. So when you're seeing this man score from first, he knew right at the crack of the bat. There's 2 outs, of course. That when that ball was hit, it's a high fly ball between center fielder and shortstop. You heard him saying it going from first to second. He's saying, "There's wind, there's wind." He knew him automatically that ball was going to fall, and he was starting around second to head for third, and he was going all the way home. He knew as soon as that crack of the bat, and when he felt that wind, he knew he was going to head home. And you don't ever see this type of baseball being played, and it was actually really entertaining. Like you heard the commentators, they're laughing about it because you're seeing this, and he's joking around out there, and it's really fun. It's really lighthearted. I'm still surprised that he actually made it that far, just because it's Freddie Freeman, and he's not a very fast guy. That's the reason why he plays first and not the outfield or shortstop. But once again, we're seeing his insight into the game, and I'm loving it.
I think for me it gives like a backyard feel. It feels like even though we are like thousands of miles away from these people, like we can feel like what they're thinking. We can we can feel like the lightheartedness of the spring training rather than just like, oh, no one's really taking it serious. And like if they take this into the season with this lighthearted feeling, I feel like it can build up the fan base. It can build up like all these like listeners who, not just like the fans that are like Sean's dad, for example, literally will watch every single St. Louis Cardinals game. It doesn't matter who they're playing. It doesn't matter what the score is. He can literally state every fact about them. But when he can watch the game and hear what some of his favorite players, Bader, for example, if he can hear what he's thinking, that's just going to take it to the next level for him. Take it to where like he doesn't have to travel all the way to St. Louis to like get this feeling of being in the game. He can feel it literally just at his house in his chair, just chilling. You know what I mean?
Now we saw a really cool moment. Joe Madden was mic'd up. He's now the manager of the Angels, and he was mic'd up. That's what I was talking about earlier in the show. He was mic'd up, and he was actually Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo. They were also mic'd up at the same time. and they were able to communicate with each other because they had the mics connected, and you heard them having a conversation, and they were just talking about, like, hey, coach, miss you, wish the best for you, how's this going, how's this, and they asked him a question, what's it been like walking into the new locker room? What was it like, seeing this whole thing, because he had been with the Cubs for a while there, won a World Series, broke the 108-year streak of no championship, and I thought it was a really cool moment for the players because they were on that team for him, a big reasons why they won that championship, and you just don't see players communicate like this. Like, you don't get to see the love and the insight, and you saw it with Joe Madden and Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo. They were all really close because they did something big in Chicago. And when Joe Madden left this year, now David Ross, he used to be the catcher he was a catcher on that team in 2016 when they won that championship. He's now the manager for this team, compound a Jake Taylor from Major League type of guy. And they were actually talking about aliases, like when they go out of town, like a lot of MLB players like that use an alias because they don't want their name out there and they don't want people spreading their name saying like, oh, he's staying here, he's staying here. So like a lot of people use like guys from baseball movies. I know Chris Bryant, he was using Hamilton Porter from Sandlot. He's like, he said his wife hated it because every time they'd be like, oh, Miss Porter, your room service is here. Miss Porter, this person's here to see you. And she hated it because, like, it's just, like, it's funny. They asked David Ross what his was, and I thought this was funny because he actually kind of relates to it. It's Jake Taylor because he was at one time the old catcher on the team, the veteran catcher, just like in the first Major League movie. And now he's the manager of that same team, just like how he is now. So he's basically is Jake Taylor from Major League.
So one thing that could be like a downside to this would be, I know that Pete Alonso from the Mets, he let the league go and, place they put a mic near where the first base is, and he dropped an F-bomb during the game. Mm-hmm. So that could be a potential downfall, or not a downfall, but like a reason that they don't do it.
That's why they won't do this for a while now. Is because of those reasons. And see, everyone loves Pete Alonso. The big old polar bear came from Florida. Everybody loves that guy. But when that's the big reason, because the SEC, they don't want to get those broken. And a lot of these players, they're known to cuss on the field. That's why they definitely won't touch the NFL with it, because there's probably someone saying some type of dirty word that cannot be said on TV or radio. About probably every player, every other player, you're hearing someone say those type of words. And that's why they won't touch this for a while. And so they were kind of surprised. I think they didn't really expect Pete Alonso to drop that type of word, especially from the dugout. But in the excitement of the game, it's really hard to keep that in because, once again, sports is huge in the heat of the moment.
And I think you're feeling it. It's not just them like talking. It's you're hearing what they're thinking. You're feeling all the emotions that they're feeling verbally. They're not gonna like give you it's not going to be just like an interview post game, like where they're locked in, they're only thinking about that. Like, there's a full game that they care a lot about going on. There is no, all right, so what do you think about the game that just happened? They're in that game. And I feel like that just gives you a different connection to the teams, to the managers, to the players in the game.
Yeah, I think you're right there. And I'm actually trying to find this video of Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant mic'd up, because it's probably my favorite one that I've watched so far. But I'm going to play this one of them talking to Joe Madden.
Question.
Go ahead, well.
Coach,
Player,
you.
what's up, baby?
Thank you for everything you've done for me and my family and Emily. Wish you and Jay nothing but the best.
Thank you, Anthony.
How was it walking into a new clubhouse? I know a lot of old faces there, but...
Yeah. I tell you.
All new players.
The thing is, when you've done it before, you're able... There you go, sit. Nope. Right turn. When you've done it before, it becomes, I think this the right way, somewhat easier. And going back to the Angels facilitated all that. But believe me, I miss you guys. You guys are the best. And I wish you nothing but the greatest this year.
Joe, thank you so much.
All right, guys.
Really appreciate it.
See you,
Joe
boys.
Madden.
See Anthony's.
Anthony Rizzo, Chris.
See, and that's just another thing. You don't ever see this type of connection in baseball. Not in the MLB, at least. Now, we've all known it when we play the game, that when you see one of your old teammates and you're going to playing against them, probably some of that kid, like I experienced this a lot in my last year of high school baseball, playing against a lot of kids I grew up playing with. I did not just sit in one town and just play the ball with the same guys. I was one of the guys. I traveled to a lot of different towns. I played at Pensacola, NEP, played at Millen, played at Pace. I played a lot of different towns. And so I've probably had a couple teammates on every school that I played with. So at every moment, it was our last time on the field with these guys. I always say bye to them, wish them the best of luck, because baseball, it's a family type of thing. It's a different type of connection that you find. And that's why I always love the game forever. You don't ever get to see this in the MLB or college because it's just so hidden, because one, security, and you really can't also just – it's hard to tune into these players during the game. And that's why I just love this idea. But once again, back to what Sean was saying, the FCC, the language, it's hard to keep that on lockdown. But if you have some sort of lag thing, which we've seen this in like TV shows or something, not TV shows, but like live award shows. Someone might slip up a word like that. They have 7 seconds to, I know that's what we have. They have 7 seconds to dump that or bleep it out before it actually hits live air and goes out all over the air.
Web.
Or over air, yeah, over air, broadcast, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of different formats, but I've loved just watching this in spring training because I hope we're probably going to see a couple more before the season ends. And I know Freddie Freeman, he's probably my favorite one just because he's a funny guy to watch. He's not like, he's kind of goofy in my opinion.
He's
honestly.
personable.
Yeah, he's really personable. And Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo, but you saw that connection that they had with Joe Madden. They saw the impact that he had on their life and their career, that he's someone that's really significant to them. It's probably tough in Chicago seeing that Joe Madden left and went to the Angels. Don't get me wrong. And they're probably happy to have David Ross there. And I don't know if David Ross is really the manager that's going to be that perfect fit for them. But David Ross, he's earned respect by a lot of these guys in that locker room because he used to play with a lot of these guys. He's known by all these players, and they know his knowledge. So that's why the connection, for him as a coach, they're probably going to connect and have a lot more chemistry earlier on than most coaches would coming into a new clubhouse like Joe Madden is with the Angels.
Being such a big basketball fan, I feel like I'm so accustomed to players and their interaction with other players and coaches. Like if you just watch a normal, even if it's a college NBA game, the players are constantly talking to each other, but for baseball, it's different. Like an outfielder can't just talk to the dude that's batting, whether they're good friends or not. Like he can't just be talking to him. And I feel like this kind of connects or breaks down this barrier that was kind of like an outfielder is never gonna just happen to walk past the other team's dugout like what we just saw. Like he's never just gonna walk past and talk to him. Like you play your game, you go back to the dugout. When the game's over, you just go through the dugout and you leave. Like there is no post-game kind of interaction that other sports see.
Yeah, I think this is actually it right here. Actually, they're talking about the alias.
Fat redheaded kid from Sandlot?
No.
All right. Do you guys think I look like the fat redheaded kid from Sandlot?
No.
All right.
Hamilton Porter? I'm going to give you, I'm changing my alias this year, but that was my alias on the road the last 5 years, Hamilton Porter. Really? No way.
So my wife would order room service or something, and she hates it because it would always be like, "Good afternoon, Mrs. Porter." So she hated it.
Oh,
so I'm changing it.
So you're changing. So that was your alias.
Yeah, Hamilton Porter.
Wonder if Rossi have any good aliases?
Skipper, what was your alias back in the day? Jake Taylor.
Jake Taylor's funny. Backup catcher from Major League.
And that's them. They're literally sitting in the dugout watching their other teammates play at bat, and they're talking to the commentators. That's really cool. Now you're starting to see this with coaches a little bit more. I've seen it in college baseball. We see this with coaches that they'll mic up a coach during the inning while they're hitting. They're probably up 5 or 6 runs. You see it in the interview them, ask them a couple questions because this game, the game they're in currently, wasn't that big of a game. They know the bigger game in the future that they'll talk to them about. I've seen it in college baseball. I think I've seen it in the MLB a couple times. But players, it's just a different story because they're the ones that are out here entertaining us. So that's what's different about it. All right, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Just felt there's a huge need in Pensacola to bring foot and ankle services, specifically orthopedic foot and ankle services, to this area. There's so much growth in Pensacola. I wanted a freestanding orthopedic foot and ankle center to do this. And as far as I can tell, this is the only one really in the country that's freestanding. Most orthopedic surgeons are part of a multi-specialty group. So we offer on-site x-rays, on-site CT scan, and on-site MRI. They can come to one place.
Visit NielsenOrthopedics.com to reserve your appointment today.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golick and Wingo.
Oh, yeah.
To the Dan Levitard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day. Thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
What if people had a battery level icon
like on your phone. You'd see a lot of us in need of a recharge. Thank goodness there's 5-Hour Energy. Because just one sugar-free, vitamin-packed 5-Hour Energy shot can get you all the way back to 100% fast. And isn't life better at 100%? 5-Hour Energy. Get back to 100%. For more information, visit 5hourenergy.com.
What's up, Chad here from the Sports Drive? Well, hoops into full swing. Let's walk down memory lane. Like when Bob Costas called Michael Jordan's wife his mom.
Michael, surrounded by his mom, his wife. That wasn't fair, but I'm covered with champagne I can hardly see.
Yikes. Or Magic Johnson working with his business partner Rob Pelinka, best friends.
I wasn't having fun coming to work anymore, especially when I got to work beside you, knowing that you want my position.
And this coach so proud of his team.
Came down the offensive rebound, they got every offensive rebound, we didn't get one of them. What else do you want to know?
Sports Drive 5 to 7 on ESPN Pensacola.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golick and Wingo.
Oh, yeah.
To the Dan Levitard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day. Thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
His football career started as a quarterback at Pensacola High. It culminated as the coach of the Buffalo Bills. Now, Coach K. Stevenson talks football every day at noon on Talk Football with Coach K.
Kareem Hunt got pulled over last week for speeding.
This guy's been in trouble over and over and over again. Now, if they get him out of this, he will get in trouble again.
Noon to 1, weekdays on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back into Sports Call with Davidson Justo on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 991 FM. It's getting a little hot, you know. All right, so we're going to talk some college basketball. Conference tournament season's coming up next week. You know, we're getting these last couple of regular season games in today. You know, we got some good ones today. Got Kentucky and Florida, which I think is going on right now, Sean. Right, Sean?
Yeah, Florida's up 11-9.
11-9. It's going to change here in a little bit, I bet. Baylor's up on West Virginia 9-6. Baylor's ranked 4th in the country. Wisconsin is down 37-42. Wisconsin's ranked 24th in the country. You have Auburn and Tennessee as well. Auburn up 54-37 on Tennessee. That's expected, honestly. But also, we got some bigger games coming up today. Right now, Villanova and Georgetown, 43-43, 15 minutes left. Shut up. 15 minutes left.
Tied up.
Yeah, Villanova, if they lose, that could hurt them a little bit. They drop a couple of seeds down. Then later on, we got Kansas and Texas Tech. Seton Hall and Creighton as well today. That's going to be a good game as well. And then, of course, we have the big rivalry of Duke and UNC.
I thought you were going to say the Florida State-Boston College.
Oh, true.
That big rivalry.
Man.
Big game.
I kind of forgot about that one, you know. Florida State, though, barely edging out Notre Dame the other night by 1 or 2, I believe.
I got Boston College.
Boston College?
Yeah,
oh,
honestly.
for real? Like, you're reading for real right now.
I got them by 3. No joke.
No joke.
No joke.
All right, mark it down. Zach's choosing Boston College. And we also got Louisville and Virginia as well. Virginia, they're on a hot streak lately, man. They've been doing really well. This team, they didn't start out great, but I think they're on a 7-game win streak right now.
It's that system.
Yeah, if they're on a 7-game win streak, you know, the reigning champions of last year, they can beat Louisville. That'd be a big win. They can definitely shoot up a couple of spots. They can probably move into a 4-seed range for the tournament.
For sure.
So moving on, I know you're a big Duke fan. I'm a big UNC fan, and I'm just going to say it straight up. This year is not our year. I'm just going to say it right now. We're not making tournament. We're not making the tournament.
Don't y'all have to? You have to win the ACC tournament to make the.
Yep.
That's what. Okay.
Yep. That's how it goes. The only way they can win is if they win the ACC tournament, which is not going to happen. They're going to be playing like in the first rounds, like the 10 seed rounds.
I'm gonna be honest. Y'all could dog the NIT bracket though.
Oh heck yeah.
Y'all could.
That's
some
what
of the
we're
teams
going
in there,
for.
y'all could dog them.
NIT or bust, sir. That's what we're going for, man. It's NIT or bust. Duke though. I know you're a big Duke fan. Give us a little breakdown. Trey Jones, how's he looking this year, man?
Honestly, Trey Jones is the only like highlight of this season really for me. I was so happy when he said he was gonna come back. He's slowly becoming one of my favorite Blue Devils to ever play.
But there's a chance though. North Carolina, 5.8% chance to win this game.
That's honestly less than I thought it was gonna be.
Really?
I'd give it like.
I was
10.
expecting. I mean, like, account for the rivalry, man. Like, look at the last time they played. North Carolina should have won that game. You and I both know that.
Trey Jones,
we were up big though. Trey Jones came in clutch there.
It's the turnovers from your team. Like that's the only. UNC, I just can't trust with the amount of turnovers they give up, and it's not even like oh, okay, you just shot bad. Like you're giving up like inbound turnovers in a close game. Like you can't give this up and expect to like close out a game against a rival.
And see, but you're also going to see a lot of rebounding by both these teams. These teams are probably in the history of their programs for Coach K and then also Roy Williams, they've always been known for rebounding the ball. Offense and defense, that's what's always been strong. Both averaging 40-plus rebounds a game. That says a lot about your team, and that's also with college, though. You're going to see a lot of missed shots. And that's why these coaches have such legendary careers and why they're top 5 coaches in the history of college basketball is because they know what's important and what's a necessity to the game.
Yeah, the turning point for me and one of the biggest keys is Vernon Carey going to do what he's supposed to do? If he can go in there and take advantage of UNC's, to me, lackluster paint defense, then it's not going to be a game. If he can go in there, he's only averaging 17.6. It just feels like he does more than that, and it feels like he needs to be doing more than that. If he goes in there, puts up 25, everyone else just does their thing, Alex O'Connell comes in, puts in a few buckets, it could get away from him.
Yeah. And, this year, though, let's be honest, the draft this year, it's not a good draft from what we've seen in past years. Of this draft, there's no really outstanding player like we had a big draft last year. Cam Reddish, R.J. Barrett, Zion, Ja. You got a lot of big players that we talked about last year in the draft, and they were pretty much during college basketball last year. You always heard the draft being talked about during those players' games was where they're going to go and how it's going to happen and what's going to happen. These players, you don't really hear the draft being talked about much at all. And that's what's this year of college basketball. I think look at it as more of a down year, if anything.
And
you're going to see a lot of returning players.
And if you're an NBA team and you're high in the draft and you aren't fully in love with LaMelo, you aren't fully in love with some of the other guys who are expected to go, like, honestly, it's like a 2 or 3 person draft for me. If you're 2, 3, maybe top 5, if you're not in the top 5, I'm trading down. I'm trying to get a higher pick the next year. I would love to see the Thunder kind of trade down some of their picks, get an even higher pick next year, something like that. Something that they can really take advantage of, like this being like some deeper teams that just can they can take advantage of someone in the 20th pick equal to someone who's like the 14th. I see like that mid-range area all about the same to me.
All right.
Yeah, so going back to like how college is going this year, there just isn't like these top teams that you've seen in the past years. Like you've seen like Duke last year, how they had those top 3 guys. And then you had Kansas, who's always really good. You had Kentucky, who was not as great as in past years, but they were still up there. And then you had Gonzaga, like every year. They're like Kansas. Every year you're going to see them near the top. And this year there's nobody breaking away from the pack.
No.
And having Kansas as the number 1 seed, they're 27-3. There's no team that's you have San Diego State, who's 30-1, but there's no team that's out here that's a known good team like Kentucky back in when Karl Anthony Towns played for them, 2015, when they went 38-1. Like, you don't have any team that's completely dominant like that this year. And I think that's going to turn out to be what's best.
Everybody looked at Memphis as that team this year until the whole thing with James Wiseman happened. And all that drama, and that's why it really killed that, made it die down really quickly. Because now James Wiseman was that guy that was going to be the Zion this year that was talked about. It's the first pick of the draft and all this and all that, and then the drama broke out, and then it all died down so quickly because it's just like, well, now this team doesn't really get talked about that much because this player that made this team get talked about a lot. Don't get me wrong, Memphis, the recruiting this year was great, but it all died down when James Wiseman had to leave.
Yeah, so the top consensus player right now is Anthony Edwards. And, he plays for Georgia. They're not really a good team. I mean, they're not a good team. Without him, they would not win a game. I mean, unless they played these smaller schools. But what you see with Anthony Edwards is he chose Georgia like Markelle Fultz picked Washington and Ben Simmons picked LSU. Like, he went there so that he could show he's the scorer. Like,
right. Let's go ahead and get some picks in because we got Jason Fitz joining the next segment from First Take Your Take on ESPN, on ESPN Radio as well. All right, so let's get in this first game. Wisconsin, Indiana. You think Wisconsin comes back and wins, or Indiana's going to stay?
Yeah, I got Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, go Badgers.
Hey, Wisconsin. Auburn, Tennessee. Tennessee has moved it within 6 right now. On a run a little bit.
Auburn has one of those players on their team that's projected to go top 10. So I think that they're going to end up pulling out this game.
Auburn.
All right, Villanova, Georgetown. You got Villanova up 5 with 11:54 left in the half.
I'm not going to go with any upset, most likely, but I got Villanova.
Give me Georgetown.
Georgetown. All right, I'm going to go Villanova. Kentucky and Florida. I got Kentucky winning this game.
So Kentucky is down 20-9 right now. So that is because probably our best player this season, Ashton Hagans, is out for personal reasons. Don't know how long that's going to be for, but getting close to the March Madness, that could be bad for the team.
With Florida's strong backcourt.
Yep.
Yeah, they have Scotty Lewis, who was projected to go top 10 this year, but seeing how Florida's done this season, he's fallen off the mock draft.
All right, Kansas and Texas Tech.
Kansas. That one should be a no-brainer.
Not even close.
All right, I got Kansas win this game. Seton Hall and Creighton. That's a big game we got going on there. 8 versus number 11.
I love Creighton. I've always loved Creighton. I think it's because Doug McDermott went there, but I've always been a big Creighton fan.
Give me Seton Hall. Of course, we have the big game tonight. Oh, actually, you got Louisville and Virginia. Who we got?
Louisville.
Louisville?
They should win
Give
this
me the
game.
system. Give me Virginia.
Yeah, give me Virginia. They're hot right now. I think they moved it to 8 straight. Of course, all right. I think we all know who we're picking. We're going North Carolina for this game tonight, right? Duke versus North Carolina?
Yeah, I got North Carolina.
Yeah, you're picking North Carolina too, right?
What?
Yeah,
What?
you're picking North Carolina, right?
Hey, in the last 5 games, North Carolina is 3-2. Duke is 2-3.
I'm just saying, bro.
I'm just saying.
GTHC. It's Duke. Come on now.
Yeah, give me Duke as well. All right. Jason Fitz is going to be joining the next segment. You're listening to Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
1033, home invasion, 3 detained.
Description.
Mouse, female, spreading disease, contaminating food.
Copy that.
Termite, male, property damage.
Go ahead.
Stinging insect, male, triggered allergic reaction, major health risk.
Pests like mice, cockroaches, termites, and stinging insects pose real health and property risks. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org. That's PEST world.org.
A public service message from the National Pest Management Association.
Hey there, I'm a glue stick, so I have one job. I glue kid stuff. So sorry for being jealous of Geico, who does a ton more, like give you 24/7 access to thousands of licensed agents. And Geico has been around for over 75 years and has a 97% customer satisfaction rating. While I've just got mediocre adhesive skills, Geico also has an award-winning mobile app. Uh-oh, arts and crafts time. No eating the glue stick, Miss Lydia!
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
First Take, Your Take with Jason Fitz.
Remember, it's not that long ago the 76ers over-exceeded expectations in the playoffs, right? So suddenly it became they are the future and the future is now. Trust the process became this thing that works. Now they've hit a wall. And it's staggering to me to hear Embiid talk about he doesn't know if he's getting the ball. And Horford to say, we've got issues in the locker room, but we'll keep that private. Guess what? You just made them public.
1 to 2 weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
1033, home invasion, 3 detained.
Description.
Mouse, female, spreading disease, contaminating food.
Copy that.
Termite, male, property damage.
Go ahead.
Stinging insect, male, triggered allergic reaction, major health risk.
Pests like mice, cockroaches, termites, and stinging insects pose real health and property risks. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org. That's PEST world.org.
A public service message from the National Pest Management Association.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Into Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. So Davis Allen, he's going to be calling in next segment. But earlier this week, as we always do, we interviewed Jason Fitz, who's the host of First Take Your Take on ESPN and ESPN Radio as well. And he joined Davis and I earlier this week, and we talked about a little bit of football, talked about the draft a little bit and what's going on with there, and Tom Brady, Dwayne Haskins, Tua getting drafted, and where all these options that can go. This is Jason Fitz on Sports Call with Davis and Justin.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM. Well, it's that time of the week where we are joined by our good friend Jason Fitz. He is the host of First Take Your Take on ESPN Radio, and you can hear him right here on ESPN Pensacola. Jason, welcome back to Sports Call with Davis and Justin.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited. It's going to be fun.
All right, man. So I'm going across my screen today, and every day seems like there is a new update on Tom Brady and about whether he is staying with the Pats. And lately, the last couple of weeks have been trending towards he is no longer, or at least it's leaning that way, he is not going to be sticking with the Patriots. He will continue to pursue free agency with another program. I am sticking with the belief that he is going back to the Patriots just because I can't see him with another team. And I won't believe it until I see it. Where are you at with Tom Brady and his future with the Patriots?
So everything I put together logically when I build a little Lego brick of thought process, and when I build a little house, it says he's going back. I agree with you. I don't think there's anywhere in the AFC he stands a better shot of winning a Super Bowl, frankly. It makes the most sense for him to be back there. I can't see anywhere that puts him at an advantage to be elsewhere. That being said, there are guys I really respect at ESPN that are not hot take artists, that are in the know, that continue to tell me I'm wrong. So I value that also. So, my mind says he's absolutely coming back. But enough people are telling me he's not that I respect that. So I feel like maybe everybody's having one pulled over on him, and it's going to be the Hulu ad all over again. We're going to wake up and say, oh, what do you know? He ended up right back where he was. But the more indication we get that that's not the case, I think the more surprised I'll be. If he goes somewhere, I just don't find a great spot for him where he suddenly has a better shot at a Super Bowl than he would if he stayed with Bill.
I think there's a microscope now over Tom Brady, and every little move that not only he makes but his family makes, there's now the conspiracy that he's leaving, or there's something going on in the background that leads to him possibly leaving. And the most recent thing was he went to a Syracuse basketball game with Julian Edelman and Jimmy Fallon, and they're FaceTiming the head coach from Tennessee, and then Julian Edelman's being caught on camera saying he's coming back and coming back. And now there's another microscope on Tom Brady that shows him possibly saying, no, he's not. Every little move that he makes, they're questioning, is he actually coming back based on anything that he does, from his family going to Nashville to check out schools or him moving homes recently to Connecticut. Every little thing he does now is a microscope and a possible conspiracy that he is leaving Foxborough.
Well, and let me be clear. I don't feel bad for him about that. I mean, if he stepped out and made his intentions clear, we'd stop overanalyzing it. That's part of why I think he enjoys this level of spotlight. Again, it feels like the Super Bowl ad where we see the one picture on Instagram and we think, oh, that means something. And then you see the whole ad and you're like, nope, means nothing. I mean, there was an argument that at one point they bought some property in Vegas, and that meant he was headed to the Raiders. Well, rich people buy property. That's sort of what a lot of rich people do, especially if you want to live on two different coasts. And, he's FaceTiming Rabel. Well, they're friends, So you have to look at all of this and say, hey, there's more context than what we want to give it. We want to take every single action that he makes and put it into context with what we think it means, rather than looking at just the full context of his life and realizing that there's more to his life, I'm sure, right now than where he's playing. He's not that worried about it. We're way more worried about this than either Tom or Giselle is in my mind.
Okay, but let's be honest. You're a Raiders fan. Would you rather him? Would you take a Brady going to the Raiders, or are you buying into Derek Carr as your future quarterback?
I don't think Derek Carr's great, but I don't want Brady. For me, it's pretty simple. If you're going to draft Tom Brady, you do it for one reason. That's to win a Super Bowl right now. If you're gonna sign him as a free agent, well, the problem with that is that the Raiders don't have a Super Bowl ready team if they add Tom Brady, which means they'd have to use all the available draft capital they have and money they have to try and build a Super Bowl ready team right now, which also means they don't get a quarterback for the future that they can't even start to address what the future looks like. So are you willing to leverage all in 1 year? You put all of your assets there on a quarterback that might be able to get you there, but is more likely going to be the second best quarterback on the second best team in your own division. Are you willing to do all of that and have nothing there for the future? And that's what I think the Raiders will be doing. So I think it's a bad move for a team that doesn't have any mindset around what they're going to do for the future at quarterback, because you don't know if you're getting Tom for 1 year or for 2 years. And the other thing I will add to the Raiders conversation is anyone that says that, well, they need to put butts in seats. I tried to buy season tickets. They are completely sold out. Anyone that says, yeah, but think about the merch money. They're going to put out Vegas merch. They're going to make a ton of money either way. So I don't find a business win for the Raiders either.
So we're talking to Jason Fitz. He is the host of First Take Your Take on ESPN Radio. So, Jason, I have been guilty of this on my show where I have talked about Joe Burrow, and I said that the quarterback that I would compare him to most in terms of his skill sets and the way he plays, I have compared him to Tom Brady, and he comes out and says, do not compare me to Tom Brady. I don't know if you can blame me on this one, though. The way he plays is superior. His skill sets sort of match Tom Brady. His body size is close to Tom Brady. Maybe I'm not saying that he's going to go off and win 6 or more Super Bowls or even a Super Bowl. I'm just simply comparing his skill sets. Where do you stand on Joe Burrow's comments on don't comparing him to essentially the greatest quarterback of all time?
Well, I think Burrow is smart and calculated in everything he does, so he's just trying to deflect a little bit there. But I think, frankly, a better comp is Andrew Luck right now, and because of the mobility. I had the chance to see him 4 times in person this year when I was traveling with College Game Day, and when I watched him in person, by the end of it, I was asking everybody why we're not saying his name the same way we said Andrew Luck coming out of college. But I think the thing that he has that Brady only dreams about is absolute mobility. Like, Joe Burrow can get out of a bad situation, move himself around, and still keep his eyes down the field. So, look, I wouldn't say anybody wants to be compared to Brady just the way that Zion, I'm sure, doesn't really want to be compared to LeBron. But if you're talking about Joe Burrow right now, what you're talking about to me is an incredibly gifted passer that is not only mobile and athletic, is not only really good at keeping his eyes downfield, but the thing that will always stand out to me is in the second half of the national championship game, Burrow found the mismatch. And once he found the mismatch between his receiver and their corner, he audibled at the line of scrimmage every single opportunity he got to exploit that mismatch. He was the reason they won the game, which means he outsmarted the best defensive coordinator in college football. That's the Brady comparison to me. He is that stinking smart. When he comes up to the line of scrimmage, he's better at adjustments than anybody was in college football. That's what I think is going to make him successful in the NFL.
Hey, Jason, Justin Patrick here. So I have a question. Keeping it back on the draft and new quarterbacks coming in, I want to switch it from Burrow to Tua. A lot of people talk about Tua being with the Redskins, some with the Dolphins. What are your opinions on where Tua should go and what would be the best fit of what team he should be going to?
Whoever takes him is brilliant unless he's hurt, right? Like, that's what we keep saying, and that's a big unless. Like, the hardest part about Tua is that history won't remember the context. If he doesn't get hurt, then everybody's going to say, how is this guy not a top 2 pick in the draft? If he does get hurt, it's going to be, how did we not see this coming, right? Like, there'll be no context to it. He is a special, special quarterback. But I'm not just talking about the hip. I'm also talking about 2 surgically repaired ankles. I'm talking about some knee issues, some thumb issues. Like, the way he plays the game has put him in a position to get himself hurt. That being said, he is clearly coming out of college a better quarterback than Dwayne Haskins was. So if the Redskins truly believe that he's healthy, I think the Redskins could absolutely do a Cardinals-type move, and they could end up taking him. You know, the other side of it is, you know, if not him, then who? All of a sudden, I will long tell you that I think the 3rd and 4th picks, going specifically to the Lions and the Giants, I don't think one of those two teams isn't going to take anybody right there. They're going to trade down because the trade value to get one of the top two guys, there are two guys in Tua and Burrow that I think are worth risking or everything for. Your draft future, because your franchise future, I should say, because when you draft a quarterback, you're taking a 4-year bet. If you're wrong, it's going to set you back. Those two are worth it. I'm not as sold on Herbert. I'm definitely not sold past Herbert on any of the guys. So to me, and the Redskins would be smart to take him if he's healthy, because he's a better option that they have, and then they can figure out what market there is, for Haskins.
See, these conversations, I can only put myself in the shoes of Dwayne Haskins. Just this conversation happening alone tells me this team doesn't have a lot of faith in me. And I can see that Dwayne Haskins is not being looked at as the quarterback of the future, and he's only going in year 2 of him as a quarterback for the Redskins. If he even remains there, could this turn into like a Josh Rosen situation where you're with a team for 1 year and that team drafts high for another quarterback and then you're out and now your career is in limbo?
Yeah, absolutely could. But I think part of that goes back to Ron Rivera's fault. I mean, Rivera, who said some nice things about Haskins, also said at the end of January that if Alex Smith is healthy, he deserves to have a shot at that starting job. You don't say that if you believe that your first-round quarterback from last year is who you're betting your future on. And we have to remember, Rivera's a second-time head coach, right? So this is likely, for most coaches, this is the last opportunity you get. So he better be banking on what he thinks is the future of quarterback, because his job, his ability to feed his family will depend on that. And that's the variable in all of this. If Rivera had come out from day one and said, man, I can't wait to work with Dwayne Haskins, he's our guy of the future, we're not having this conversation. But, the fact is he left the door open when he left the door open for Alex Smith. He left the door open for any quarterback to come in.
A lot of people I've said that the O-line was the reason why Dwayne Haskins' failure was. And some people blame Haskins just for his failure of not doing successful this year. For me, I think it's because he's a rookie and the O-line was not good, and that's a big reason why it got hurt. Do you think the O-line was actually the real problem here, and that's their main focus, and they really shouldn't be focusing on Tua? Or Dwayne Haskins is just not the answer, and they should really go after Tua, a different O-lineman?
Well, you're right. The offensive line was terrible. And the other side of it is they went through a coaching change. I mean, what the heck's that do for a rookie quarterback that's trying to learn everything? So, there are a lot of variables to why. And I do think Dwayne Haskins can be successful. I just think Tua is better. So if you're asking me, if they look at it and there's not a clean bill of health on Tua, or if they look at it and they say, okay, you know what, we really believe in Haskins, they're in a great situation. I've talked to multiple guys that I trust that break down film for college football, and the comment I've heard from multiple people when they talked about Chase Young is better than Bosa. And if you tell me that on that defensive line, which last year got after the quarterback the back half of the year, you want to tell me they can add it better than Bosa, now they're taking the 49ers model. Build the best defense you can, keep a quarterback that you think can grow to be okay, and see what you can do. And I think Dwayne Haskins can be better than okay. The thing of it is, if healthy, I think Tua ends up being a difference maker, a franchise quarterback, a superstar. And that's just a different level. You have to sort of view that through its own prism. But that, not to say take anything away from Dwayne Haskins, who I think can be a high-level starter in the NFL for years to come. He's just got to get reps. He's got to get experience. He's got to get continuity.
Speaking with Jason Fitz, he is the host of First Take, Your Take on ESPN Radio, and you can hear him on ESPN Pensacola. All right, Jason, last question, and that question is, well, I'm going to start off with a comment. I've never really been a fan of athletes signing not mega contracts, but the multi-year contracts that are normally 8 or more years, because we normally see players either get traded or they, in some sort of way, they leave the team before the end of their contract. So I'm never going to argue against someone making their money, but Christian Yelich, he is signing a 9-year, $215 million contract. I'm not against him making $215 million. He is a superior elite baseball player, one of the best in the game. But I have never been a big fan of the long contract, the 9-year contract. And I want to know where you stand on the length of these contracts that athletes like Yelich are signing. Where do you stand on these? Are they risky, or is it normally good for these players?
No, I think it's absurd. I mean, I get it from a player standpoint. Go get what you can get, but I think it's absurd from a team standpoint. You're putting yourself in such a vulnerable situation for the future with injury and for how guys move forward. There's not much I like about it, frankly, from a team standpoint. I realize that they're trying to do it just to put up a fancy number so everybody feels happy about it. If teams will do it, players will take it. My God, but you're right. There's a tremendous risk in level of play slipping and injury and just where the next generation of stars come from. It feels stagnant. I don't love anything about it.
In your mind, who can you think of that signed that mega $1 million contract that was in length and actually served out the length of their contract? Because in my mind, I'm actually thinking of Alex Rodriguez, and he had suspensions tied in there. He sat out an entire season for the Yankees. He's the only one I can think of that actually served out the length of his contract and made the dollar that he made.
Well, and good on you for I would have forgotten that. I can't think of anybody that stands out that, like, when's the last time you saw a mega deal? I'll take it a step further. Mega deal signed where you stood there at the end of the deal and thought, look, getting a heck of a value here. This is worth it. Like, it just doesn't happen. And so we do it, and then the hope for a team is that they win so much in the beginning few years that by the back of it, nobody's paying attention and nobody really cares that money's still going out the door. So, that's again, I think that's why it's such a stagnant way to do business, because you're committing to somebody that, ultimately that money has to go somewhere else, and nobody's worth that by the end of the deal. So there's no win for anybody but the player. I mean, good on them for getting the cash, but there's no win for the team.
Yeah, you get the cash, and then imagine signing that mega deal, and then you're 38 years old, and you're not playing up to the standard of $30 million a year based on your contract. It's ludicrous. But Jason Fitz, the host of First Take, Your Take on ESPN Radio, we appreciate the time. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next week.
Y'all have a great week. Thank you.
First Take, Your Take with Jason Fitz.
Remember, it's not that long ago the 76ers over-exceeded expectations in the playoffs, right? So suddenly it became they are the future, and the future is now. Trust the process became this thing that works. Now they've hit a wall. And it's staggering to me to hear Embiid talk about he doesn't know if he's getting the ball. And Horford to say, we've got issues in the locker room, but we'll keep that private. Guess what? You just made them public.
1 to 2 weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes are non-transferable, non-redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other contest prize. Prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning and must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
The latest sports news is at ESPNpensacola.com and on Facebook at ESPN Pensacola. Plus, watch Chad Brilliante, Coach K, and Sports Call live on our exclusive YouTube channel, ESPN Pensacola 1330. The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Into Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. I'm Justin Patrick. We've had a little bit of a coast-to-coast takeover today with Sean and Zach. We run a podcast on Spotify. You guys can check it out. It's on Spotify. It's Coast to Coast. But with me now is a guy, my co-host, who's usually here with me every Saturday, but now he's at the McGuire's 5K, or he's actually might have just been leaving the McGuire's 5K. But Davis Allen, how are you doing today?
So I am recovering from the McGuire's 5K. I actually just came back home. We picked up some Whataburger, and now we are just relaxing, getting ready for the next part of our day. But the McGuire's 5K run was a lot of fun, and frankly, I can't wait to do it again next year.
I got to ask, what's your Whataburger go-to meal?
It's got to be the patty melt meal, no onions with a sweet tea. Always my go-to.
Solid, solid. So what was the 5K like? I know it was your first time, man.
Yeah, it was my first time doing the McGuire's 5K run, which is surprising. 'Cause every year I say I'm going to do it, and either something always comes up or I just don't do it. So this year I made sure to do it. And, you know, I'm not in the best shape in the whole world, but I did run the 5K, unlike a lot of people who walked it for like a second, then just went right on back to the finish line. But I ran it in 33 minutes.
33 minutes? Weren't you shooting for 30?
I was shooting for 30. I was hoping to finish before 30, but, you know, I'm not in the best shape, so I'm going to continue training and get below that 30 mark and maybe even below the 25-minute mark, but that'll take a second. But I went ahead and did my best, and I had fun while doing it. I finished, and that's all I can say. I'm very happy with my finish time and looking forward to doing it again.
I mean, there's always a 5K probably going on like once a month. There's probably a 5K going around in Pensacola. So I mean, you're gonna have another opportunity.
Oh, there's so many.
Yeah, there's so many that happen here. I mean, you have the bridge run that comes up pretty soon. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, so I want to move on to the XFL. We're going into week 5 this week. Got a couple good games today. You know, Houston, they're still 4-0. They just knocked off the Dallas Renegades after Jarvis Landry. He was just turnover for turnover all last week against Houston, and so now they're actually, I believe it's 2-2 now, and so they have the New York Guardians today, and you have the St. Louis Battlehawks, and you have the DC Defenders going at it, and you have your Tampa Bay Vipers and the Los Angeles Wildcats, and you have the Seattle Dragons and the Houston Roughnecks. What did you see last week that really stuck out to you?
Well, first off, I watched the Texas Bowl, and P.J. Walker is a great quarterback. I'm really happy to see that he is the success story of the XFL. Him and Tiamu, who went to Ole Miss, Jordan Tiamu, those two guys have been the success stories of the XFL. So that's really fun to see because no one really saw them being the success stories. But then I want to go back to Landry Jones, the guy you had mentioned. I read an article on ESPN that said he was the face of the XFL, and there was not a second where I believed that. I did not believe for a second that Landry Jones was the face of the XFL. There is no way, no how. He didn't do anything in the NFL, so why do you call him the face of the XFL? If anything, at the beginning of the season, Cardell Jones was the face of the XFL, and he gets routed by my Tampa Bay Vipers, who won their first game of the year, 25-0, shutting them out. And Cardell Jones just, what do you throw, 4 interceptions in the ballgame? He has actually been looking terrible throughout the season so far up to this point. He had an okay first game, but then he has not done well ever since. Overall, my view of the XFL is St. Louis is a fun team to watch, and the city is buying into it. Did you read that they are opening up the second deck of their stadium?
I saw that.
Known as the Edwin Jones Stadium. They're opening up the second deck because the city is buying into them. Houston is the best team in the league by far. And also, I want to give a shout-out to Luis Perez. He plays for the New York Guardians, and he was actually the quarterback of Texas A&M Commerce when they defeated UWF in the national championship back in 2017, and he's been playing well. He has not found himself on an NFL roster. However, he played in the AAF. He started there, and now he's starting in the XFL. He actually started in L.A., was traded to New York, and he's doing well. So overall, my view of the XFL is it's been fun to watch. I heard someone the other day saying it's a fledgling league. No, we're not quite there. And right now, we both predicted that the XFL is going to make it one season. I can see that it finishing one season and actually beyond. It's been fun football to watch. It's not the NFL, but it's fun to watch.
Yeah, you're right. And like you said, I have a couple of St. Louis Battlehawk fans sitting next to me, and Sean and Zach, and they're big fans of them. But Houston did beat them 28-24 earlier in the season, so they are typically pretty much because they have the head-to-head win over them. They have the best record, and they've beaten the best teams. So Houston is that better team. But looking in, now you've seen the mic'd up that they've used in the XFL. They used it on the coaches, the players. Now you're seeing the spring training, the MLB starting to use it. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not really that much of a fan of it, to be honest. And the thing I have not been a fan of is the interviews after the team gets off the field and they immediately interview the players. I just don't care. That's really how I feel. I'm not going to sit here and say that I hate it. I just don't care. And then the mic up, frankly, it's distracting. I think that whenever there are players who are colliding with each other and they're going at it, it becomes distracting when you're constantly hear them jarring with each other. I just want to watch the play. And then after the game, I'm okay with hearing them out. But for me as a fan, and I could be alone in this, but for me as a fan, I just want to watch the game. I can care less about the sideline interviews. I can care less about them being mic'd up on the field. I just don't care about the quote-unquote all-access feel. I just don't. And as for baseball, this is the first year where they're miking up players during it. They're actually speaking to them while they're at bat, while they're on the field. They do it during the All-Star game, which Fox, shout out to Fox. And I know we're an ESPN station, but I will give credit where credit's due. Fox innovated this one during the All-Star game, and now ESPN's doing it during spring training. I just don't care, at all. I just want to watch the game. That's just how I feel about it.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time, Davis. We're coming up to the end of the show here. I really appreciate the call-in. I know you're trying to recover from that 33-minute run that you had in that 5K. Congratulations on finishing your 5K. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
I appreciate it. Hey, y'all are sounding good. I've been listening. Sounding good.
Sounds good. Really appreciate it, man. That's Davis Allen, also co-host of Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. So coming up towards the end of the show here, let's get some couple picks in real quick here. See, St. Louis and DC Defenders, what you got?
I got St. Louis.
You got St. Louis?
St. Louis.
All right, Tampa Bay and Los Angeles.
I got Tampa Bay.
I'm taking Tampa Bay for Davis.
Yeah, Tampa Bay. New York and Dallas.
New York.
Give me Dallas.
Seattle and Houston.
I want Seattle.
You want Seattle. No, Houston's winning this game. PJ Walker is the stud of the XFL. All right, this is it for the show. You've been listening to Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day.